Welcome to the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast with psychologist Dr. Doreen Downing. Listen in as Doreen interviews people who felt they didn't have a voice or who suffered extreme speaking anxiety. You'll hear stories about how they struggled to speak up, what they did to find their authentic voice, and the confidence they now feel to speak up and make an impact. If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. And now, here is Doreen.
Hi, this is Dr. Doreen Downing. Welcome to the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast. Gee, we're now closer to 200 episodes, and I keep finding fascinating people who have had, well, I would say what we're going to hear today is a miraculous journey from what seems like a really, really strict environment where there was no opportunity to really be more expressed and happy as a young little girl to somebody now who's standing up and saying, I know what it takes to be more of who you can be. And this is a wonderful new friend to me today. Hi.
Hi, Doreen. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Desislava, I would love to have you pronounce your name, but let me just try and do it first because I've been practicing. Desislava Dimitrova.
Yes, pronunciation is Desislava in our country, but
Okay.
you read it correctly.
Desislava. The accent is on the Desislava
Yeah.
Dimitrova. Wonderful. And what country is this?
Originally from Bulgaria. I don't know if the name is, from the roots of the country. It used to be, I think, a bit modern for that time, and that my parents chose it. But it has a good meaning, so I'm keeping it.
Really? The name has a meaning? Desislava?
Yeah, I was interested a few years ago, and I did a little research, and it's something in the lines of glorious, and also Slava, Desislava. The second part, Slava, is also like glory, like victory.
Oh, ooh, that fills me up with a new sense of the beauty of this word, this name that you have. And I noticed on your email you have Desislava Divine.
Yes, this is more of a, I think, part of my my work name, more of a spiritual kind of accent that I want to put into my work, into
Beautiful.
who I am actually, and what my essence is about. Because it is Desi, but we are all divine beings,
Yes. Yes.
and so yeah.
Well, I love that you claim it and that you radiate it and that you then say, hey, it's in all of us. Well, before we get even deeper into our conversation, you sent me a bio and I want to make sure and read that so that we get a sense of what you're all about nowadays. Desislava Dimitrova is holistic whole health consultant with intuitive and healing abilities. And she is passionate about helping moms to improve their lifestyle and live with more joy and inner peace. People she worked with call her practical and motherly nurturing. And she offers a personalized approach for mind, body, spirit, and is certified in multiple healing modalities. But life experience is her biggest credential. She works with mid-age professional and business women who struggle with overwhelm, stress, and face transition periods in their lives. And she helps them find peace and hear their inner voice and move away from any blocks to their next inspired actions with confidence and clarity. And she fosters calm and safe space. Wow, it almost sounds like I described myself. That was wonderful. I'm so glad I get to be on the platform with you and share your story today. Oh, I'm so inspired.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's not an accident. We just got connected and we met, right?
Uh-huh.
We
Ooh,
inspiration.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel the same. I feel the same thing about. And folks, today, this is our first conversation. I mean, we've done a few emails, but actually, this is us sitting down for the first time, introducing ourselves to each other, although I'm introducing you to this wonderful new friend of mine. But I'm also getting to know her at the same time. So this is all fresh, everyone. And it's no scripted, no pre-recorded kind of let's make sure and say that. It's just like so in the moment that we trust. And I feel like I've got little chills on my skin because I just feel so open to this experience with you today. Big breath. So I like to start with where you grew up, what your family constellation was, because I do understand as a psychologist that many times our ability to say, oh, look at me, and to be excited about being seen and heard happens in that first environment. And when that doesn't happen, we carry that into adulthood. So give us an insight and say as much as you can, stories about what growing up was like for you.
Mm. The first thing that just came to mind while you were saying this is even I remember when I was in my grandparents' house with my sister, and my sister is only 1 year older than me. So we are almost, same age. We should be treated the same way, I would think. But I remember my grandparents. They will like have this little chair, put it in the corner of the room, and she'll step on the chair or me and perform something. Say, they will teach us song, or yeah, I think it was mostly songs, not poems, but like songs. And I felt at that time that they will prize and like her more, but not me. And they wanted to hear her talking, her saying things and singing. But even in their house and in that environment, not even talking about my parents, I felt that I'm less than my sister.
Uh-huh.
They just treated
Uh-huh.
us equally.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was what stays here in my mind
Yes.
from when I was
Yes.
5 years old.
Uh-huh. And you were the older sister or the younger
No,
sister?
I'm 1 year younger.
1 year, yeah, just very close in age though. And what, yeah, yeah, did you ever explore that with your sister? Did she feel the same way?
I don't know, we didn't talk about that, but I can tell you the after effect of it. She wanted to
Okay.
become a lawyer, and she's constantly talking, and always when we are in the family, she's taking the stage, and everybody's
Yes.
listening to her. And I'm always
Uh-huh.
there, but I'm
Uh,
just the quiet one in the other corner, right?
right.
It's part of
Uh-huh.
this. Um, how did they set up the environment in our family? And
Right.
I became the quiet one. I even if I had something to say, I will be not, it's not so important, or your sister is better, or she's saying it, she's singing, or she's even cooking better, something that my mom will sometimes say, because she loved being in the kitchen, and she will prize her more, so she's always been the prized one from the two of us.
Uh-huh. Already, I'm feeling a resonance with what you said. I have one sister, and her name is Ginny, which is really easy, at least in over here, to remember. And people always remember Ginny, and she had a bright spirit. And Doreen was harder to remember, and they could never remember my name. So I understand a
Mm,
little bit exactly what you're talking about in terms of the way energy is gravitating to this other person that's your
yeah.
sister. And but so there is a sense, as I'm listening to you, that perhaps you were just you came into this world with a different kind of nature, maybe not so extroverted, but maybe deeper kind of that sense of connection to something inside of yourself. And already I feel like I'm falling in love with you. It's just like, oh, I want to know that deep self that's within you that probably already was there. It's just that people didn't quite appreciate it
It,
because people
yeah.
appreciate more the the burst or the energy as opposed to those of us who are inside of ourselves deeply. Oh, thank you for sharing that memory.
Yeah.
You mentioned your father to me,
Mhm.
so I would like to go there now because I think that's important for listeners to hear.
Um, First, I have forgiven to everyone, and I have no resentment towards anyone in my family, no matter how much I've seen they were wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
But um, he's still alive, and he started to regret some of his actions. But when I was little,
Hmm.
growing up, um, so he was a military person. So he, yeah, he was a mayor, and he had um, people that he would train. So he was very strict, very, he would command them what to do and teach them and how. And he was bringing this at home,
Hmm.
um, trying to talk, to control, you know, um, raising his voice and screaming all the time. He was not always present there at all. At first, when we were very little, he would go. They will send him in different towns, so there will be days when he will be away. So it was mostly our mom that will be with us all the time, and our grandparents. As I said, um, the first probably 4 or 5 years of my life, we were living even together. So there was one house, a very old house, the first floor, and there was two bedrooms and one kitchen. And in one bedroom was my grandparents, and in the other bedroom was my father, my mother, me, and my sister.
The whole family. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, and my father, he was only child, and he also was raised in poor family, and we were at that time poor too. Like not, mm, my grandparents work in a factory where they manufactured shoes, so he was in the military, and my mom was at home because my sister was 1 year old. I was born, so I was a baby, and it was one little house, small space, everyone in, and he will travel, come back. But when he's come back, he'll drink, and sometimes will be people over, and even I don't even know how I remember, but I feel like I was a baby at that time. That I remember a lot of music, and um, they're having fun in like the kitchen, and I just couldn't sleep. I wanted to sleep. Mm, so, and then later on, he, he will drink, and I will see him drinking way more than he's supposed to drink, and again raising his voice and screaming for like all of us. And a lot of times it was about us not being right, or we are never right, or shut up, quiet your voice, who are you to tell me? Even when in our teenage years, like we did have a voice when we were teenagers, but he still had that job, so he was still very
controlling,
angry, tired. And he would calm himself with a glass of wine, and then another one, and then another one. And I mean, yeah, his life was probably not easy, but yeah, we had to live with that. And unfortunately, I've learned to be quiet. I've learned to protect myself, to just be, yeah, to just not, because I know he may get even more angry and, try to hit my sister once and my mom once. And I was like, no, this is not, like, I wouldn't, allow myself to speak up, because
not
peace
safe
was more important.
Yeah, right. Peace is more important, to keep the peace and not aggravate or antagonize, and just quiet is a strategy for sure, a protective strategy. And thank goodness, I guess, as little ones, we can figure that out. That we just need to stay small. And then before I go into the consequence of that as an adult, I know that you also wrote that your mother was an angel. So before we leave this part of your life, I'd like to point to her and see what comes up when you talk about your mom.
Yes, yes. I want to move on to her, but if you allow me to just mention one more thing that came to my mind, because I clearly remember I was probably around 5 years old, and I had this deep desire to see people healthy and to help them be healthy. And I remember I seeing them drinking, and I would go and say, hey, Dad, why are you drinking? Can you stop drinking? That's not good for you. And because I would see him change. Like, if he's not drunk, he will be nice. He will be nice to me and everyone. And then sometimes when he drinks, he turns into a monster. And I say, you have to, Dad, stop drinking. This is not good for you. And he's just like laughing at the table and saying, oh yeah, what do you know? Who are you to tell me? Like something like that.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say to all these people, stop drinking. This is not good for your health. Like, why would you hurt, like, my soul at that time was all about wellness and health, and people should be healthy. They can eat the plants, not drink, not smoke. Why are they smoking? I mean, I didn't realize, they have the stress, what they live. I was just about 5 years old, 6. But anyway, that stuck to my mind, that, who are you? It's like your feeling and your wisdom is not important. You don't understand us. We are older. That was my impression at that time, when I really tried to speak up what I felt at that time, because I wanted to help. I want to say, no, this is the wrong thing to do. You have to stop drinking. It's not good for you, and it's not good for all of us. What's going to happen next? But anyway, so I've learned not to tell him what's good for him or not, I guess, after that.
Well,
on the other hand,
of course, I just so relate also to what you're saying about that intuitive kind of being able to, and this is what I think one of the strengths that you brought into this world is that you're looking around at your environment, or even if this is like 5 or 6 years old, you're knowing something. That's what
Mhm.
that's what I'm hearing. You were already knowing, tuning into something, right? And then, of course, you're going to want to say, this is what I think could be better. Hello. Because that's what you do now, is to help people who want to get better. But he did not want to get better. Not only that, he put you down for it and made you feel that you didn't have anything to contribute. You were just a kid
Mm,
or something. Yeah. Yeah. I
exactly.
understand.
Instead of
Yeah.
nurturing or fostering someone's like,
Yeah.
you're important, you have talents, explore. I'm all about, yeah, that for the kids too, not only moms, but um,
Yeah. Yeah.
on the other hand, my mom was, as I said, Angel. She still is elementary school teacher. She's
Uh-huh. Ooh.
um, after being cancer survivor, just a year before my surgery was her surgery. But thank God she's still alive. She went back to work and she just spread her love with the kids. She's like their mother. She's
Uh-huh.
spending time with them. She's also, she was the only one at home that we could, besides my sister when I was older, middle school and high school, um, we only my mom was the person that we would be really honest and share what we experience, what we think, what our desires are, what we want to do with our lives, and just be like friends.
Mm-hmm.
Because with him, we never had this relationship because every time we say something, we will be judged. He judged us all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's actually this specific, I think this judgment part of character is very common in our country. It's not only him, it's more of a, I guess, ethnicity kind of
Well, I
thing.
think alcohol also affects
For
people
sure.
in the way that you're talking about. Oh, that just really shook me when you said monster, about that way he would be like a monster. And that's got to be so
But
frightening
it,
that you got to
but I mean,
shrink.
but you see him like that when you're that little, and you
Uh-huh.
see someone do something really hurtful and hurting someone else that you love, right?
Yeah. 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 But then you also see what he's like when he's not
Mhm.
on alcohol. And that's what that that reminds me of a situation with my grandma, who took care of us while my mother was sick, and she was housed in the back of the house, and it was really dark and she was depressed. But outside, my grandmother had what you have in the background there today, flowers, just like, oh, life is growing and there's bright colors. And so, like, both were true, that there was life that was abundant, but there was also life that was full of pain, and which was my mom, who was suffering. So I think what we're talking about with you is that you can see both, that there are people who are suffering. I mean, your dad obviously was carrying
Yep.
with him his own pain, and yet you've got, you're surrounded by flowers, my dear. So what happened that you started to wake up to a new kind of life where you weren't so hidden and held back?
Yeah. I paint flowers. I love flowers. I want to make the world a better place. And what,
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what exactly happened. I just always followed my path. Um, and it just got deeper when I had a chance to really listen more deeply
Yeah.
because there was so much conditioning in my young years till about 2021. Around that time I left, actually probably, yeah, around 20, I left my parents' house and we went to our grandmother's house when we were there, when we were babies, but we just wanted to get out of the house with my sister. We just wanted to get out of this house. And I went to meet my first yoga teacher. I went to a health webinar. It was called Heal Your Eyes with Your Hands. So I started doing what my soul was.
Heart. Yeah, your heart, your soul. Yes, yes. Listening, like you said.
My interest. I wasn't really interested in what I'd actually went doing. I went to study engineering. I became an engineer. Oh yes, I am. But that's when you do things for society, when you think
Yes.
about work to make money and to provide, and because you don't follow your voice. But then I realized I started working, and very soon, less than a year into that type of work, I realized this is not what I want to do. I can't do it actually. I realized I cannot stay in this office 8 hours a day. It was just not me. And on the weekends, I will go to these yoga teachers, doing a yoga training, started doing yoga classes, learned how to breathe deeply. And that's when I started to connect to my soul.
Yes. Beautiful.
And that's when I started to ask these deeper questions. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Why do I even go to this place that I work? I, at that time, freshly married with my husband. I started having these conversations with him, and why are we doing that? Why are we here? And I was started explaining how unhappy I am with, basically, with the life we live at this moment. And we decided to move to America to just have another chance. It was not like something easy for us because you need visa to come here. You don't just buy a ticket and move, but you need to go to get visa. But because he had been student here before he came to marry me, he was here. He still had this documents that he could come back and study and be legal student. And I was his wife, so I could come with him as his wife. And I said, we should do that if you still have a chance, because what we do here is not gonna be good for our kids.
Yeah.
And we wanted to give them a chance to live a better life. And we decided to take this adventure.
I love the way that you called it an adventure. Because that's truly, the leap. It feels like that's you got to have some faith, some spirit, some vision.
Or you have to have something,
Courage.
because
Lots of stuff you got
a
to move
lot of
something like that.
a lot of courage in my mind, because I had nobody here. I no friends here, nothing, nobody. And when we told my parents, they couldn't believe we were moving. Like, they they didn't want to accept this for a very long time, especially my father, because he didn't talk to me after that for several years. Because he was like, how can you do this to us? I mean, this is my life.
Yeah, he took it personally, and it wasn't about you. Yeah.
Not about you. Yeah, exactly. It's about what I want to do, my life. But anyway, we wanted to give a better life for our kids, and it was super hard to take this decision, not knowing where you're going, not having a job that is waiting for you. Actually, moving into, Boston is a great place to live, but my husband went to college, so that was a lot of loans he had to pay off. And so he had to go to school and to work at the same time because I couldn't work. Um, my my status of my visa was to just be his wife and just be legal, but not having the right to go to work. And what happened was, I was pregnant. I was just a week later, I found out I'm pregnant with my daughter. And that's when my next stage of life starts about
Great.
mothering.
I'm gonna pause right there and take a brief break and have everybody take a breath and say, "Oh, we're gonna be right back," because she just got us to the point of something's starting to open up a new chapter, and we want to hear about that. So we'll be right back.
If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com.
Hi, we're back right now with Desislava Dimitrov, and I have been so fascinated already. You've got to go back and listen to what we talked about in the beginning, because growing up with a kind of a military strict alcoholic, I'm going to put that word on him. She didn't say that, but I think that's how we describe an alcoholic, and what that effect, being a young girl who had to hide herself basically in order to keep the peace. But the journey and starting to listen to what's inside of her soul, the deeper sense of who she truly is. That's what's exciting. And that's where we are right now. Okay, we're back. What happened next?
Well, the journey continues in a new country. And of course, it is very, very challenging. In fact, when I look back now, it's been 18 years, and so many times it was so hard raising two kids here abroad. So hard that I just wanted to say, if I knew how hard it's going to be, I would not do it probably. It was that hard.
All
But then
right.
I'm so, but then I'm so
Yeah.
proud that I had time with my kids because I was a full-time mom, and that 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 was what my soul wanted. I
Yeah.
I didn't know. I struggled a lot of the time. I will be happy, but at the same time unhappy because I was giving everything to them, everything, like my all of my energy. Because from the family I come from, I wanted to be a better one, you know, better,
Yeah.
not better, better father, better to give them more than they gave me. So,
Uh-huh.
um, so I spent a lot of time with my kids, and at that time, I, as a full-time mom, do, I did not respect a lot of myself and my desires and my needs.
Right. Yeah. Your desires, your needs,
Which
and
are
somewhere, obviously, you've changed. And not only do you now most likely respect your own desires and needs, you teach others how to do that. So I'd like to start looking at that, how you are now somebody who, given the history that you've talked about, and then this moment in life where you focused only on your kids, and then you came back to yourself. How was that?
Yeah, what happened was my son was almost 4, so I was not, nursing full time anymore. So I signed up for a yoga teacher training. I became a yoga teacher on the weekends. So I came back to the path. Just my daughter was she's 4 years older, so that means about 7, 8 years later. Still being a mom, but I said that's what I want to do because I know that is something for me. And then, of course, everything I did made me realize I want to teach others because I saw the benefit of it and how it helped me, how it changed my life. So I did that, but I still, that was nothing that major. I had it and it was good for me to start healing.
Deeply, sounds like.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. But then there was another big event in my life 4 years later. So not I became a yoga teacher, but I also had been teaching math for elementary kids in a private school because I was able to at that time to do so, to legally work. So I had classes that I taught. And all of a sudden, 2019, 4 years later after I became a yoga teacher, um, I was diagnosed with a 1 in a million disease diagnosis. It was a spinal cord tumor.
Oh.
I don't think I mentioned that to her, so you don't know about that.
Yes, I don't know about it.
But yeah, but that was a moment in my life that basically split my life in half. It was my life is now before that moment and after.
Okay.
It was so big. And it was because I had to face my biggest fears. And because this process of healing from that allowed me to have the time to study and to experience all the healings that now I teach. I think that's
Oh.
so. How was I able to become spiritual life coach, chakra meditation teacher, Vedic health coach, and total well-being coach through Chopra? This was because I had these 5 or 6 years of intense meditation and going through all these courses where I was healing myself and also improving, doing self-growth and having the chance to now share this with others. This is not everything. I have to tell you that all these challenges that I went through, they say when your soul goes through something hard, it's because your soul knows you're strong enough to go through it. So
yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
I almost hated that spiritual teacher that said that because I'm like, how can my soul be choosing the hardest path ever? Like it was so hard. And during this time, I also had relationship problems with my husband, and it was really hard on top of the health problems I had because I wake up from this surgery mostly numb from neck down. I couldn't walk, I couldn't feed myself. It was just it totally took off my body. So I've been healing physically, spiritually, mentally for so many years. And I can tell now I'm at at the other side of the river where is the flowers where
Yay. Oh, such a
my voice.
perfect, beautiful time to be meeting you And rather than in the depth of despair, what you're out is in the knowing what it takes to heal yourself. You said spiritually, mentally, physically. And let's talk about the programs that you do now then.
Yeah, well, as what I offer is personal approach toward people because I have this intuitive gift that I can know and feel what they need. So I blend that with um, with all the modalities that I have, including emotional healing, EFT. But my biggest thing right now, and always will be meditation. I help people to learn their primordial sound. This is the sound that vibrates as the vibration of their soul. So it's connected to when they were born. So it connects them to their soul very quickly. And because I use that, of course, I recommend that because I practice it myself and it helps me every single day connect and to know what the right next step is. So I help them with that. And I offer personal one-on-one coaching, basically. So
Well,
very
uh-huh.
just to, yes, because yoga and Ayurveda is the nutritional side of yoga. Yoga is the physical aspect, but
Yes.
what Ayurveda is a science of life, and it's just a way of teaching people to how they can live according to to their nature.
Yes.
So it helps me to connect to my nature and to learn who I am and follow that nutritional approach, So it's mind, body, and spirit. I have the tools to work with everything.
Yes, well, with the journey that you've been on and all the learning you've done and the
Yeah.
integration, I think that we can, or people who are listening today can trust that if they reach out to you, not only will you help them do whatever it is on whatever level in terms of being more of who they can be, whether it is healing or whether it's just coming out into their world. I'm sure we'll have a link to not only your how people can find you, but also anything else you want to share today with us about what you do.
Yeah, I mean they can visit my website desidivine.com. I have free meditation and journal. The guided meditation is short 15-minute meditation that connects them to their joy. And I believe just by listening to it and journaling a little bit is gonna connect them to something deeper, you know, and
Yeah.
it's gonna help them slow down. It's just to slow down and listen.
Oh, what I'd like, given we're coming to the end, is just to open up and have you be in that listening phase or this listening moment together and see what wants to come to end our time today and maybe what you'd like to leave the listeners with. But it comes from you, and it's usually just in this now new moment from having been in our conversation. Big breath.
Always, always honor and follow your heart. I wanted to say voice, but people sometimes may think they listen to something when it might come from here, rather from here. So you feel here is what is your guiding light, because that's where your light is. That's where God gave you this energy and the breath and sustain your life. And God is there, and you gotta honor this, because there is no other path that is right for you. The other is just the condition and the beliefs that you might not had my traumatic experience, but any kind of experience is just a condition, and it may make you think you're less than who you are or what you can do, but you can do anything you want.
Yes.
And you
the
can
place,
be.
and what I'm getting from you here is, and it's not listening to voices in terms of what is around you or what you think. I think what I just heard from you is that the most powerful voice is in your heart. Learn to listen to your heart.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And once you start doing that, what people will experience is pure love, because my saying is all is love, all is well, and that is true, and I know it from the root of my who I am, and the rest is just some thoughts or
Yes.
something temporary, because what you believe is what you create in your life. So you have to be very careful what you say and what you think.
Yes.
And
And you have to learn something that you teach, and what I teach is how to listen more deeply into your heart, your soul, and let that be the guide, so that the voice isn't just a voice out there disconnected from anything. The voice is authentic because it is truly yours, and it comes from deep within you. All right. Well, wonderful to spend this time today with you and to share your voice, your message with the world. And we'll be
super,
again
Doreen,
more time, I hope.
yeah, it was such a pleasure to have this time with you today, and I really feel honored. And whoever is meant to hear us today, he will, and they will hear the message. And if they want to reach out, I will be honored to help. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
you're welcome. Just want to say there's that beautiful word again, honor.
Mm.
Thank
I've learned a lot of beautiful words in the 18 years here.
you.
Keep
Yeah.
learning. I
Yeah.
keep learning.
Where we started today was glory, and that has to do with your name. So come full
And
circle. And
your name is beautiful, we might say so, because it's unique. I mean, Doreen. I do not know any other Doreen.
I love the way you say it, actually. There is a pronunciation that's different. Sometimes people say Doreen, and I love the kind of the lyrical that you just put on it. Ooh, that makes me feel good. Speaking of voice, thank you. I'm gonna say goodbye for
Thank you.
now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for being with us today for this episode of Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. Each person Doreen interviews shares what has helped them find their voice. You can learn from these guests and find your voice so you can be confident to speak up and speak out. And remember to download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. We hope you enjoyed the show and will return next time. Until then, goodbye for now.